Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Crypto News Podcast. We are buzzing as always, and I'm super pumped to have today's guest on the show. He's coming in hot from beautiful Greece, just outside of Athens. Today we have Jamie Thomson, the CEO of Vulcan Forged, one of the leading blockchain game studios and makers of VulcanVerse, which is powered by PYR token. Vulcan Forged is an established NFT game studio, marketplace, and decentralized app incubator with 15 games, a user base of 120,000, and a top 10 NFT marketplace volume. Jamie currently lives in Greece and graduated with a master's in education and artificial intelligence from the University of Sussex and Washington, respectively. Jamie, super pumped to have you on. Welcome to the podcast, my friend.
Thank you very much, Matt. It's lovely to be here. Big fan of your podcast, so it's a bit surreal being on here myself. So thank you for having me.
Appreciate the kind words, mate. I'd like to start with a fire thread that you had a couple of weeks ago, and that was sort of your best lessons, your 5 best lessons of 2022. I'll ring them off for you. I absolutely loved it. Your 5 lessons are as follows. Number 1, there's always someone who does it better, so use them. Number 2, saying no is initially hard, but it'll make life easier. Number 3, 99% of crypto Twitter doesn't do due diligence, which is so freaking true. Number 4, cardio is better for weights for mood, which might be a hot take. I can't wait to get into that. And number 5, writing stuff down, i.e. your schedules and goals, actually works, which I completely agree on. What made you write this thread? Were you just chilling at the end of the year being like, You know what, this is what I learned?
Yeah, it was just one of those sort of midnight, laying down on my sofa, realized I haven't tweeted for about 4 days. Everything I tweet is usually Vulcan Forge related. So I thought I would share my droplets of wisdom in a way to engage as many followers as possible. But yeah, I mean, there is some reasoning behind it. I mean, the first one's probably most important. I mean, obviously is, we were a bootstrap company, so it was literally just me and one other person 4 years ago. And as you get bigger and bigger, it's very, very easy to let the ego sort of control and realize, I think you could do everything and not let go of your baby, as it were. And I think it was probably a good 2-3 years into that where you realize, well, look, there is someone who is trained to be a marketing officer. There's someone who's trained to be a campaign manager, a proofreader. As much as it's your idea and you're the founder, there are people who know things better than you. And since I sort of dedicated a lot more of the company to other people and hired better C-levels and more staff, things just got a hell of a lot easier. So that one really hit close to home, I think.
And you guys have grown to what, over 120 employees, I believe. Like, how crazy is it growing a company from 2 people to 120? Like that 60xing your headcount.
Yeah, I know. It's mad. It's very surreal when you say it like that, but it just doesn't happen overnight. It just sort of grows, and you think, okay, we need more employees here, more employees there, and you do a count one day, and you realize that it's big as it is. And I don't think we were prepared really, because we're in the Metaverse area and the trend, and we sort of rose that hype up last year. And that's when things just got utterly surreal. It was actually kind of scary, really, because, you know, PYR was a token we put out just literally for and actually a utility token for the games. And then Binance listed us without telling us, and Hobie listed us without telling us, and we're just like, hang on a second, you've got to get market makers, got to do this, and they're all over Twitter. Everyone's talking about PYR. I was like, what is going on here? And so yeah, it was quite the learning experience. But I'm kind of glad for this whole bear market or whatever, really, because it's allowed us to kind of just focus back onto the basics again, regroup with a proper strategy, proper people, and just sort of settle back down and build into like stealth mode, as it were, and then get ready for it again when it happens.
I love that. And saying no is initially harder, but it makes life easier. I'm a big Tim Ferriss guy. I love the Tim Ferriss podcast. I've read all of his books. He was the one who got me on this. You should be saying no 99% of the time. I actually think it was Naval Ravikant who says, if you're not 100% yes, even if you're 99% and it's a no. That's a great quote. Do you have any specific examples of where that has been so helpful?
Yeah, I mean, again, definitely with the business at the beginning, you kind of want to please everybody and you want to say yes to every podcast, and everyone, at the beginning, you're so small that everyone knows you as an investor. So you're kind of buddy, they're one in the community. So, can we have a meeting here? Can you help me with that? And you say, yep, sure. And you realize that actually humans in general are we're resourceful creatures. If you say no and you can't do something, and people can handle it, they'll work it out. I mean, they won't get offended. And you're right, exactly that. Unless you're 100 million% wanting to do it, there's nothing wrong with saying no. And I think that can be translated to our other walks of life. When a friend invites you out, or there's some sort of party or some vacation, you think, well, if I say no, they're going to think this and the other. And I'm like, well, who cares? If you don't want to go, you're not going to enjoy it anyway. So say no. So yeah, again, it was business related, I would have thought. And now saying no is far easier. And they don't get offended, and they don't sort of think you're the devil incarnate. And, in fact, they probably respect you more for having the boundaries to say, this is what I want and don't want.
100%. You set that precedent. And my favorite one of the 5, Jamie, and easily the hottest take, cardio is better for weights than mood. You'd rather go on a nice long run or a nice long bike than, throw a bunch of heavy iron or metal around, really?
Well, I mean, for vanity purposes, weight always wins. But I've never come out of the gym after a weight workout and felt like just the buzz of the endorphins you have if you do even a 5-kilometer run or the cardio. There's something about burning up that long sweat that just makes you feel like you've achieved something, or that energy's gone. I've never got that with just weight. I mean, obviously, both are the best thing to do. And that one thing is a bit random compared to the other 4. But I was thinking, well, what can I do? I need to make 5. I can't do 4 pearls of wisdom.
No, it is very true. I always find when I go on even just like a 5K run or even just a long walk, the reason why I feel a little better after a pretty sort of strenuous gym session is because when I'm in the gym, I'm really focused on getting every ounce out of that set. Whereas on that run, it's just like after sort of the 10-minute mark, whether I'm listening to a podcast or music or nothing, it's just my mind just wanders. I feel like it's almost a source of meditation.
It is. It's mindfulness. You've got no choice but to focus on your breathing. There's nothing else around. And of course, the physical benefits are there. And absolutely agree with you. It's I didn't know you were on the same page. I thought when you said hot take, it means you were going to disagree with that point.
No, to be honest, I did. But after thinking about it, I was like, damn, he's already got me. I'm already going back. It's really not that hot of a take. He's right too.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's get into some of the fun stuff here. You currently live in Greece. Why the move, if you don't mind me asking? I mean, Greece is a treat, but why Greece of all places?
It is. Well, it was 5 years ago. My ex-wife now. I mean, it was Greek, so I moved there 5 years ago, and we had a little daughter. And then I set up the office here, and so that was 5 years ago. And I can't leave now because I've got a 4-year-old girl here, and we've got the main offices here. And so we've got about 50 staff here in the Greek office. I've got a child here, and this is my base. And it's Greece. And to be honest, I've never really identified with the UK very much. There's something very, very fast-paced and individualistic about the lifestyle in the UK, whereas Greece is a lot more family-oriented. People know each other. They're happy to sort of talk to strangers. I don't know. It's just a friendly place to be. It's probably the first country I've lived in where I felt like actually at home when I was here. And of course, the summer here is just something else. It's not like Dubai humid heat. It's just like dry, beautiful beaches. Yeah, exactly. So lots of good reasons to be here.
And walk me through sort of what you did before getting into crypto. Obviously, Vulcan has taken off. You guys are a big player in the space. You've developed partnerships with some incredible companies and names like Anthony Scaramucci and Skybridge. We'll get into all that. But before we do, walk me through sort of Jamie Thomson pre-crypto and how you got into it.
Yeah, so as you said before, I was into education in England. I was a teacher there, and I sort of taught children with behavioral difficulties, like the juvenile delinquent centres, and like who were prisons that didn't have like a opportunity to go to mainstream school. And then I just randomly met a Greek lady, and before you know, I'm just married with a child after about 2 months, and I'm in Greece, and it's like and I had to get like a job immediately over here in Greece, and it was a terrible job. I think it was on like €500 a month. I was just proofreading terrible finance, English essays. And I thought, well, this is easy. I'll do this half the day, and the other half of the day, I'll just like work on my own little project. So I came up with this idea called Veriarty, which is like verified art, which was basically OpenSea before OpenSea was OpenSea. And so I had this idea of digital art NFTs, and no one understood it. No one bought it. There's a talk of me at Web Summit in Lisbon many, many years ago trying to sell the idea. And I was like, what's an NFT? And so I dropped it. I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. I should have pushed it because I dropped that project after a while. I mean, it was bringing in maybe 5-10 grand or something. I thought, okay, it's a market, but not enormous. And then OpenSea came, and it was just like blew everything out of the water. I was like, oh, goodness me, there is a market. So, what's lacking? Oh, I know, games. So I sort of got a couple of developers together. We made some crappy card game. I can't remember what it was called, with NFTs, and they just sold out. Like I think we sold out for €40,000, which at the time when I was earning €400 a month, it was
Wow.
incredible. It was like, okay, there is a market for this, right? Well, let's go big. And then we saw Sandbox and Decentraland, and they were just coming out as ideas, and thought, well, why not something a bit more MMO related, a bit more World of Warcraft related? So recruited more of a developer team. We created VulcanVerse that sold out, and again, it was just another step upon step, and just the ideas just kept coming. Well, if we can do an open world game, we can do a CCG, we can do a tower defense game, a Vulcan runner game. And then the Metaverse wave came. So by that time, we'd already positioned ourselves as a Metaverse company. And so there's a PYR which just blew up into like, $1 billion market cap out of nowhere. And then crashed again, of course, with every other bloody token. But, it is what it is. And that's pretty much the ride, I think, for the last 5 years.
What in particular about digital art or creating that marketplace and the metaverse? Like, were there any talks or mentors or resources or places where you learned about the metaverse and crypto, and more specifically digital art, that allowed you to come up with sort of, the first version of OpenSea before it did? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have friends who got into Bitcoin super early because of a friend, or because they bought drugs off the dark net and needed Bitcoin. Like, what was it that tipped you off into this whole area?
Yeah. No, good question. It was I started trading like at this job maybe in 2018 or 17, whatever it was. So I bought the complete top of Bitcoin when it was, I think the top was like 18K there. So
Right.
and then I just got obsessed and I kept buying the dip, and I kept losing all the money because it kept dipping. Thinking, okay, so I understood about crypto from that. And so I guess the next step was I kind of ran into the idea of an NFT, but in like it was more of a business sense, an NFT, like not a digital art, but like maybe an IP or something in NFT. And I don't know. And one of my best friends happened to be a graphic designer in a gaming company, and he just makes the most incredible 3D fantasy art. And I thought, I wonder if we just turn a few of these sort of fantasy characters into an NFT using IBFS, they'll sell. And we sold them to some friends and some people within the community of the blockchain we were using. And they did okay. People were like, what's the point? You can just right click and download them and all this kind of stuff. And
Of course.
and that was the idea. But it wasn't a failure. It was more so, okay, I was surprised people even bought it to start with. And it was interesting. People were coming out, well, I don't know what an NFT is, but I like the idea there's only 100, and I'm a collector at heart, so I'm going to buy one anyway. Who knows? So I guess that collector mentality is what the NFT founders have really tapped into. People like to collect scarcity. And so it was that, I suppose, sort of a happy accident.
Happy accident. Another happy accident, and I love this story. This is one of the most bonkers stories I've ever heard. PYR getting listed by arguably now, I guess, the two biggest, Binance and Huobi, I believe. And you guys, no green light, no nothing. It was just, hey, this token has some volume, a little bit of momentum. We're going to throw it up. Like, did you just wake up one morning and was like, what the heck is going on?
Exactly that. I woke up one morning at 7 o'clock, so like messages from everyone on Telegram and people saying, congratulations. And like, what they congratulated me for? And we saw the announcement that they were going to lift us within like 2-3 hours. And we had nothing positioned. In retrospect, it was kind of obvious because there were some people sort of in the community that were asking questions, and they were obviously, that's how it goes to show that these exchanges do due diligence. They don't just, It's not just like pay what you want and they'll list you. You can't just pay your way into these exchanges. They tend to go for trends. So they predicted, obviously, the Metaverse trend was going to be a big one. So they were going around all the Metaverse tokens. And they must have thought, oh, PYR, let's go look at the community, see if it's organic. And we had like 2 hours to scramble some market makers together. So we didn't know what we were doing at the time, because again, the whole crypto trading world was new to me. I mean, I traded myself, but I didn't know about owning my own token and all this kind of stuff. So we got the best market maker we could find in 2 hours, which wasn't even that good, just to stop it just completely imploding on launch. But yeah, I think it still did implode on launch a little bit, but at least then we learned how to do it, and we were just thrown into the big league straight away. And then you sort of learn about market makers, and you find out about it. It's a fascinating process, and I don't want to sort of get myself in hot water by exposing too much about how the process is, but I would love one day, once all this, when I retire at the age of whenever, 78 or whatever, I would love to do a podcast about how the intricacies of crypto works, like behind the scenes, like what exchanges ask for, how you get these marketing things, all the stuff that people probably want to know about but don't know about. So it's been a real insight.
Give us the TLDR. Like, you don't have to go super, super high, low level kind of thing. And obviously I don't want to sewer you in any capacity, but like, walk me through some of the small things that the average Joe wouldn't know. Like you talked about market making. When you launch your token, if you don't have a market maker, people can short the shit out of it right away. You can get absolutely toasted. Like walk us through some of the intricacies that perhaps, the average Joe or Josephine wouldn't be cognizant of.
Yeah, well, some exchanges, probably top 10, low 10 to 20, they pretty much do list you for a fee. And as long as you're not some terrible scam project, they will ask for like a fee, which is, in the hundreds of thousands usually, depending on what the market is. And then you can list there. But the conditions of listing on an exchange, you have to have a market maker. Now, I thought the word market maker beforehand was like, oh, that can't be legal. How can you have a market maker? But it's actually totally legal because you need liquidity in the books. I mean, there's no way any token has like people buying every single second of everything and buying and selling. So it's not about that. It's about keeping liquidity and so if people sell a lot, it won't dump the price. If people buy a lot, you can get that and use it again and buy again. So there are different. I mean, I can just do a whole thread about how market making works. There's different strategies market making uses. You have to sign contracts, of course, when you sign to an exchange. But yeah, it's hard. I would love to share some of the stuff on that. And another thing is like some of these YouTube things. At the beginning, we were like doing all these AMAs, like with as many communities as we have. Yeah. And it's crazy. Some of these YouTube personalities, we never went with them in the end. And I'm not going to mention any names. It's just like they send you like literally like a menu. Like it's a menu of like, okay, we can, it's the whole thing is just, it's a business within a business within a business. Everything is monetized. Everything you can is monetized in this world. So yeah, I'll do an AMA one day when I'm safe and retired, perhaps.
It's crazy how it's every step of the way, right? And then there's a lot of things people don't understand, like, let's say, for example, you're in Europe right now. Let's say the majority of your community is in Europe, and I'm currently in North America. The majority of my community is in North America. You have China, who, even though they still are technically not allowed to, there are Telegram groups from China that have 20x our target market / demographic. And you need to jump on an AMA with them. And they have translators, because obviously I do not speak Mandarin or Cantonese. And then they will translate everything I say. And if you get your ducks in a row and you can convince them to buy your token, you now have a massive, massive Chinese community who has money as well. Who like, there's so many little, and just like you said, people with menus, there are Telegram groups here, YouTube creators here, TikTok guys here. It's just every step of the way is fully monetized, from literally token launch all the way up to actually getting it listed. And then once that happens, it's the reverse down as well. It's bananas.
It is. I mean, I always thought, when we listed on Binance, I thought, okay, well, what now? Okay, we are on Coinbase now. I guess that's one more step up. But it was like, okay, what now? That's the end. And then I remember like some people saying to me, no, this is just the beginning. The market's still going to go up and down, but at least you're on the biggest exchange now, so it's accessible to others. And then on top of what you said, sometimes you get picked up by an influencer totally organically, but who has a big following, and they just say, oh, I'm getting this. And you just look at the candle and it's just like, vroom. We had that once last year. And I think it went from $4 to $10. And literally because one guy who was quite big tweeted about us. And it was just, holy moly. And then people tagged onto the $10. Thought, okay, good. And it went up to $50. And people started talking about it as the next Axie. And then that kind of narrative runs with people. And it shows how much is speculation. But yeah, no, it's a fascinating world, if not a bit stressful. The biggest stress of it all, I think, for me, is not so much the workload. It's the fact you've got thousands, tens of thousands of investors on your shoulders. And like, in any market, whether it's a bear market, especially in a bear market, anything you do, which they loved before, now is just like, it's the devil acting. And you just can't get anything right, and you feel that. And I go to bed and I wake up with it feeling like, okay, because I have to. Obviously, I can't alter the price and shouldn't care about the price, but you do because it affects investors and you want them to be happy. But there's nothing you can do if it's a bear market. You've got to just keep delivering and get through it. But that's the most stressful thing, really. Having a community which are always wanting you to deliver, basically make them rich.
And it's also much different being a publicly traded Fortune 500 CEO versus being a CEO of $1 billion crypto organization. Whereas if I wanted to hit up some CEO from Fortune 500, I'd have to get through 5 different assistants. And maybe if I send in a perfect cold email, I could get my foot in the door. But with you, it's like, I could just slide into your DMs, or I can hit you up on Discord, or you know what I mean? Like, it's a whole different world. There's so many more touch points.
Yeah, you're totally right. And if I didn't reply, it would be like, well, the CEO CEO doesn't respond. The CEO is not docs. Is not transparent enough. I'm talking to my community every day, and I'm there. Like sometimes, even now, community members message me, and I help them with an issue. I'm thinking, imagine like a shareholder of Tesla just phoning up Elon Musk and asking him for like a problem thing. But that's crypto, because there's been so many freaking scams in the space. You need to be fully transparent. You have to be there. You can't just be like a behind a mask and all this kind of stuff. You have to be there in order to be successful.
Very true. Jamie, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we are going to talk everything Vulcan Forged related, Metascapes Gaming, Elysium, the B2B part, and of course, Vulcan 3 with Anthony Scaramucci and Skybridge. But until then, got to give a huge shout out to our sponsor of the show, that is Prime XBT. We at Crypto News love Prime XBT as they have been longtime friends and incredible partners. They offer a robust trading system for both beginners and professional traders. Doesn't matter if you're a rookie or a vet, you can easily design and customize your layouts and widgets to best fit your trading style. They are also blessing listeners of the Crypto News podcast with a huge promo code. Use the promo code CryptoNews50, that's CryptoNews50, to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. Again, that is CryptoNews50, all one word, to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. And now back to the show with Jamie. Okay, let's get into some of the fun stuff here. One of my favorite things about Vulcan is the Metascapes, which is pretty much like a Metaverse as a service. I guess that wouldn't be SaaS, that would almost be MaaS. Yeah.
MaaS, yeah.
MaaS. Some MaaS. And this will compete with Meta's Horizon Worlds, which is sort of their version of Metaverse as a service, where whether you're an individual, a company, and again, I don't even think there's betas out yet. They're still very, very early stage, but you can come out and you can pretty much whip up your own Metaverse. There's a huge, huge need for that because creating a Metaverse and sharing virtual worlds is an extremely complex process. I know you guys are working on this with a lot of educational institutions. It seems like a perfect fit. It's just so much more fun to sort of learn and be engaged in a metaverse instead of just being on a Zoom call where you're literally checked out in 4 minutes. Walk me through that whole process. How difficult has it been to build this? I know you guys, I believe you just launched mainnet as well, but tell me what you have moving and grooving in that regard.
Yeah, sure. So I think Metascapes came out of a lot of trial and error with our whole play to earn economy. I mean, I think the whole play to earn thing, I think, is fundamentally flawed in that you can't really marry the two mindsets of playing for fun and trying to make money. I mean, people still will pay to play games. And the minute you start putting a way to earn money, people don't care about the quality of the game. People don't care about, they want to get as much money. So they're two completely different demographics. And that really jaded me for a while, thinking, well, okay, we plan to combine the gaming market with the crypto market and it'll be $1 zillion market, but they are two very independent markets. So we kind of steered away from the play to earn model a little bit. I mean, we still have it in our games, but you've got to earn a lot of experience. You've got to play a lot to get there. You know, other you just get farmers coming in, finding exploits and grinding just for the money. So we kind of think, well, we've made this wonderful engine and built VulcanVerse where you can build your own plots, which is kind of cool. So you can sort of build like a Hades underworld land and like an Arcadian shrine, all this kind of stuff. We thought, well, okay, that's cool. So why don't we outsource our work to some other metaverses? Some other metaverse projects asked us to make it for them. We did it for them. We thought, well, hang on a second. What about making this engine a lot more universal? So we thought, okay, so here's our chance to kind of start again a little bit. Minecraft is a multi-million user application. I mean, we're talking, hundreds of millions of users. They don't get any money out of this and they still play. Creativity, vanity, this stuff sells. I mean, people love making things and showing it off. So there is a market for that. So we thought, well, okay, that's what the whole idea of Metascapes is. It's kind of like Minecraft on the blockchain. So there's no earning potential in terms of gameplay. You sort of just, morph your land in a world in a stylized cartoon way, a little bit better graphics than Minecraft. And then you tokenize that plot into an NFT and you can sort of sell it to others and sort of, combine plots and land. It's this infinite kind of world, really. And that also came off the back of VulcanVerse only being 10,000 plots, which was like, it seemed to be the thing at the time. Sandbox, Decentralized App was all limited plots of lands. We thought, we'll all limit it. But the trouble with that is, it just means you've got 10,000 users. And so I guess Metascapes is probably the evolution of blockchain virtual worlds, I'd say. And it's probably the most exciting product for us.
It's weird how the whole 10,000 sort of NFT or plot thing was so cookie cutter and cliche, and it was just the standard when, like, at the end of the day, it's like, yes, you need that scarcity aspect for price to go boom, but If the goal
Really?
is to create a game, and 90% of NFT projects do have some game intertwined and integrated in it, the whole point of a game is to get mass adoption. Like you look at the Call of Duties and the FIFAs and the NBAs and the World of Warcrafts and the Neopets, whatever. I can go on
Yeah.
the list, but it's like those were hundreds of millions of users each.
Yeah.
Like it's weird how it was sort of asked backwards, eh?
Yeah, it's like we regressed a little bit. I mean, the play to earn market is nowhere near. It's not even a fraction of the gaming market. The gaming market is, I think, $10 billion or something stupid a year. More than that probably. And people pay to play. I mean, you're not going to stop people paying for a better game. So if that's the case, it's like, why are you bribing users to play a game of yours and it's play to earn? So, but everything's got to start somewhere. And I think NFTs are without doubt going to be a part of something in entertainment. Whether or not it's gaming, I don't know. There's a reason that World of Warcraft hasn't adopted it. There's a reason Call of Duty doesn't have it. Ubisoft tried to do NFTs and they were met with a massive resistance for that. So maybe it's not. Just like you say, the 10,000 thing for NFTs, if you notice the NFT artwork, it's very, very niche. It's very cliquey. It's real digital artists won't sell very well if they do NFTs. In fact, they'll be hated for it in their community. It's like, it's apes, it's crypto punks, it's like very obscure, weird art. So I think it's a whole new demographic you're entertaining with this whole NFT idea. And now how big that demographic is remains to be seen, I suppose.
So Jamie, you and I are in the same yacht in regards to play to earn. I think play to earn is, I think the term is dead. I think it has to be, I'm pretty darn positive that it has to be a play, have fun, like traditional gaming, and perhaps you could earn. You know, it's not like before where it was earning is the bread and butter. It is the primary value prop of said game or said, NFT community or economy. I feel like it's got to be play, have fun with your mates. And if you have a chance to earn, that's great. But like, don't expect earning to be the primary aspect.
Right, yeah. And even that, the minute you're putting like the slightly chance of earning, then the people you're going to be attracting to the earning potential are going to be focused on that. And the minute you put earning in, you're putting a ceiling on the how good the quality of the game can be. Because Axie Infinity was I say huge, but within crypto gaming, because of the earning potential. I mean, the graphics and the gameplay, it wasn't exactly Call of Duty. And people didn't want it to be. It was just like a way of visualizing, a way of grinding money. So you're right. I mean, I would say kind of scrap the earning altogether. However, I do think there is something to be said about ownership of assets within a game, whether that's even just for an emotional attachment to something you like and knowing it's scarce, as like Magic trading cards. That's something I think which will continue to thrive. But yeah, I agree with you. I think we're on the same page regarding the play to earn model.
And speaking of gaming, you guys are literally cranking out games like by the week, by the month. You guys have a shit ton of talent joining Vulcan Studios, which is the gaming arm within the whole sort of Vulcan Forged ecosystem. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about the importance of creating games and also the difficulty. I've been very fortunate to have worked with a couple incredible teams who have created and are still working on games. Coming up with a game is bananas as is. Like you're literally just making something out of thin air. And then you need to hope that your art hits. And then you need to hope that your game economy hits. And then you need to hope that it catches steam. It's like, it is so difficult. And then there's the talent side. There's only so many game developers in the world. And a lot of them get picked up by the big boys and gals as well. So like walk us through that whole process. And why is this such an important part of mass adoption in Web3?
Yeah, and on top of that, you hit the nail on the head every way there. Just game development in general is a very hard thing to do. It's not just a couple of devs. You've got game design documents, project management, art, assets, compatibility. But the worst thing and the hardest thing in all this is the Web3 aspect, because a lot of these investors haven't bought a token as part of a gaming studio before. Usually they're buying a token for a blockchain or for a DeFi app or whatever. They don't understand that making a game isn't like launching testnet, launching mainnet, launching a DEX in like a couple of months. So, these take months, if not years sometimes. I know World of Warcraft took 5-6 years to make, but you couldn't expect people to hold your token for 5 years and hope you built World of Warcraft. So you try and counter that by being transparent and showing every day what you're releasing, showing alpha, allowing people in. And it's like, even if the wolf's arms on its head and I don't know, Medusa's head is whatever like that, floating around, you let them in. Now that works fine for the first half a year because they can see you're building it. But then the community get pissed off because they're like, well, they're angry now because, they're fed up with the bugs. And then, well, I want a perfect game now. When's it going to be ready? And like, well, we're showing you this to show our progress on it. It's either we don't show you anything, or at least when it's completely full and you just trust us we're doing it. So you've got the impatient crypto investor, and they really are impatient. So you've got to keep them happy, but at the same time deliver a good game. So yeah, that adds another dimension of difficulty to it for sure.
Yeah, it's a craziness, a little bit of nightmare fuel. Let's jump into Elysium. There are an insane amount of projects and NFTs coming, tons of tools, games, NFT creators, you name it. And you and the team intend to position Elysium as one of the busiest and widely used layer ones in this space. Heck, they already have a host of big names already lined up to host their collections and whatnot as well. Why the partnership with Elysium? Obviously, they have very low fees, extremely high speed. Fortune 500 companies are using them as well. But like, walk me through the whole process of why you chose to partner with them.
Well, actually, Elysium is our layer one blockchain. We've made it, so we're not partnering with them. So Elysium is a blockchain we've made, just like Axie made Ronin. We made Elysium.
You guys, oh wow. I should have done my research there. My bad, Jamie.
No problem. I don't think people realize that yet either. So Elysium was our layer one blockchain. We felt like, if we're going to own our own economy, own our own games, we might as well own our own blockchain as well. So, we're not really reinventing the wheel completely with the blockchain. Making a layer one nowadays isn't super crazy difficult like it was back in the day. It's a substrate EVM compatible layer one. But yeah, with it plants trees the more you use it. It's metaverse related. So we just wanted to own our own sort of chain, as it were, and that gives a lot more demand to PYR. For gas, and we obviously, because of Anthony, as you know, from Skybridge, he's got some wonderful connections with pretty much any celebrity you want to get on there. We can get on there as an NFT collection. So when the market turns and everything's running, we'll start sort of doing a lot of drops, a lot of names and such. So yeah, it was more kind of just sort of own our own products in house, as it were.
Why and how did the partnership with Anthony Scaramucci and Skybridge, how did that all go down?
How did it go down? I think I met him through a friend of a friend, and we just got on really well. He's I know he got a lot of, well, no, he didn't, because he was very honest with that. All FTX thing was a real blow to him. And he was totally and utterly sidelined by that. He was, he like Sam, utterly just rug pulled, the eyes over Anthony Nash. I think Anthony came out on CNBC and he explained the whole process. And you could see the way he talked there, that directness and that honesty was what got me interested in talking to him originally. I guess he found that about me as well. And we just sort of just, shot the shit for a little bit and just had a little chat. We'd both been divorced, so that was like a nice topic to talk about. And he was getting into crypto, and he was talking about crypto funds, and he knew the Metaverse wave was next. And we just chatted, and he looked into he did his due diligence, and went to his offices up in Wall Street, which is a total surreal experience in itself. You're sitting down with this guy. It is, yeah. I'm sitting there, I was all suited and booted, getting with my tie on, and he was just casually sitting there in his jumper, with his feet on the table. I was thinking, okay, I overdressed a little bit here, but and he took a leap of faith with us, and so he's really, really behind us, and he's not like a lot of these VCs just want tokens and they'll just shark you and just sell them. It's not about that at all. It's just like he will be there all through the bitter end. He retweets us, he tweets us, he gets a speaking slot for every one. So yeah, he's a good partner to have. He's the only VC we have on board, and even in that respect, it's not even a VC. It's more sort of someone who's pushing us as much as we can.
And he's going to speak at Vulcan 3, right?
For sure. He's organizing it, actually. So Vulcan 3 is going to be in New York on the 26th of May. There's only 250 tickets this time. It always sells out. The last one in Athens sold out immediately, 500 to 600 tickets. We are quite famous for these events. We've got some light shows and all sorts. This one will be more Elysium oriented, so like the blockchain project's joining Elysium. Of course, with Anthony running it, it's going to be a great show. If you're about, Matt, I offer you a VIP ticket on the house, on me, if you want to come.
Love that. When is it? May 25th? I'll be there in New York.
Yeah, in New York. Yeah.
I'll be there. We'll get some good PR going for you. I'll film the whole event. We'll get some good interviews.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate it.
That is awesome. Jamie, truly a treat, man. A couple more questions, then we'll wrap up. We got to jump in the hot take factory. I grilled you earlier for having a hot take, which was actually not even a hot take. It was just a real and legitimate take. What hot takes you got for me? It doesn't have to be tech or crypto related. It can be health, wealth, happiness, politics, sports, geography, space, AI. Give me a couple Jamie hot takes that only really you believe in where most other people do not.
Okay, you're going to have to clarify what hot take mean. I think this is an American terminology. We don't have that phrase in English. I don't know what a hot take is.
So a hot take would be something that only you believe in where most other people don't. For example, one thing that I say that gets me in trouble is I believe that happiness is a choice. I believe that even when I'm feeling down or even when, I'm a little bit in the gutter, I can do something like go for a run and look in the mirror and just put a big old smile on and be happy. I think that at the end of the day, it is a choice. And I feel like a lot of people sort of enjoy being on the other end of that spectrum and perhaps enjoy being sad sometimes. So it's something controversial, like a controversial take, perhaps.
I'll say that no matter how popular, kind, friendly you think you are, if you really were honest with yourself, you could probably only count true friends on one hand. And I mean that. And I really mean that, and the only way you would know that would be become successful, become in a bad situation, see who isn't jealous and is there for you when you're successful, happy for you generally, and who will be there for you when you're down. And I can assure you it'll be less than 5 people in your hand, no matter how many tens of thousands of followers you think you've got. I think we've only really got, one hand's worth of true friends is my hot take.
Very well said. I love that. Good shit. Also, Jamie, you're just from looking, you're a bit of a brick shithouse. You're a big lad. What's the workout routine? How do you run a company like this and stay in good shape?
Well, you just force yourself. No matter how you just do it. I mean, people don't need to do like a 30-minute in the gym. If you just 30-minute 4 days a week, that's enough, But I'm 40 to 41 now, so it's a little bit harder. But yeah, I just do my usual weights and do a 5-kilometer run, stay fresh, and that's it. It's not hard. I mean, people just sit down, look at their phone and Instagram for like 3 hours in a row, and they can't go in the gym for 30 minutes, and you just feel so much better. It's consistent, persistent, and whatever. Something else that rhymes with that.
I love it. Jamie, what a treat, man. I had an absolute blast. Looking forward to meeting you in person on May 25th. Before we let you go, can you please let our listeners know where they can find you and Vulcan online and on socials?
Sure, yeah. I mean, the best way to start is twitter.com/Vulcan Forged. From there, you'll find all our links for actually Discord. You'll find Discord link there. It's discord.gg/Vulcan Forged, VulcanForged.com. Anything with Vulcan Forged in it, you'll find us. Just Google it and you'll get all the links you need.
Amazing. Jamie, what about yourself, bro? You gotta plug yourself. Come on.
Oh yeah, Jamie Thomson _VF for Vulcan Forge on Twitter. I expect 100,000 followers from this podcast, please, Matt.
You got it. Jamie, what an episode. Appreciate you coming on, man. Can't wait for round 2 and proud of you and the team. Looking forward to meeting you guys in person on May 25th. And listeners, we will include everything as always in the show notes.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Folks, what an episode with Jamie Thomson, CEO of Vulcan Forged. He was dropping knowledge bombs left, right, and center. We love to see that. I will include everything in the show notes as always. Really hope you guys liked this one. I'm sure you did. And if you did, please do subscribe. It would mean the world to my team and I. And speaking of the team, love you guys. Eustace, my amazing sound editor, appreciate you as always. And to the listeners, love you guys. Keep on growing those bags and keep on staying healthy, wealthy, and happy. Bye for now, and we'll talk soon.